an important reflection made after a scary day in Spain. Today's episode is sponsored by Billy Keels Advisory Services. If you want to learn more about how to make your 99 optional, just go to makeitoptional.com. Once again, that's makeitoptional.com. An important reflection made after a scary day in Spain is actually inspired by something that happened literally just yesterday. But more importantly, if you are that person who always has the perfect plan, that perfect plan kind of goes wrong, it goes into a doomsday scenario and you don't actually know what you're going to do, this very brief episode, the one that I actually stopped the regularly scheduled programming for so that we could talk to you, because I had a major reflection yesterday that I want you to share, because I don't want you to fall into a trap that happens to so many high achievers, especially when you're consistently doing things and the results that you're looking for, you've always gotten them. Or let's say 95% of the time you've gotten them, because that's what you expect will always happen. I don't want you to rest on your laurels, and I want you to look beyond what you think is the obvious thing. And so, having had the very unique experience of being in the same country for two different, very unique things. First was the pandemic in 2020, and then recently here now in 2025. So I am time stamping this, going through a countrywide, actually was Spain and Portugal, both without power for the large part of the day. Don't know why at this point in time. I'm not going to speculate. That's not my role. But the result is that we were without power yesterday for a large part of the day. Yours truly was even locked out of my home for 6.5 hours. For some of you, you may understand why. For some of you, you may have a question. And if you want, just send a review and I will reach out to me on LinkedIn and I will tell you why I was locked out of my flat for 6.5 hours. But the thing is it also takes me back to, more importantly, one of the lessons that I have learned from my parents. And that is, if something happens once, shame on them. If the same or very similar thing happens twice, shame on me. And I don't want you to be in that situation. I want you to be more prepared. Because when you are used to getting successful outcomes, you think it's going to happen all the time. That was my life for majority of my life. 2023, as I've shared in multiple episodes, a number of things happened for me. Initially, I thought they happened to me, but I'm now realizing they're happening for me. Every single day, things to get to be a little bit clearer and more understanding as to, well, why life was constantly teaching you lessons. If you want to hear more about that, go to episode 435, a whole bunch of episodes ago, but you can go into detail there. Go check out episode 435 that I did with my buddy Jerome Myers. But let me come back to this. So there are constantly lessons that you're learning. And more importantly, back to the high profile, highly paid corporate exec, you always do things right. And you're used to getting things done right. Things happened to me the first time, pandemic. Everybody was locked in yesterday during a power outage across the entire country and Portugal. So across the Iberian Peninsula, everybody was outside. So it was just the opposite. But most importantly, what I realized is there was lots of panic. There were people that were concerned because we didn't have power, right? And so the reason that I'm sharing this with you today, and the important reflection that I want to make after what was a very scary day in Spain, because when you become so dependent on something as simple as electricity, you start to realize when you don't have it, what is happening. And there were a lot of people that there were really, really terrible stories that I heard yesterday of people that were either trapped in elevators or people that were truly dependent for their health on electric devices or electricity. And that is something that I personally relate to a lot. And it got to a point yesterday where I started realizing like there was so much kind of chaos that was happening outside in the past. And this is what's important, because when you're used to having a particular plan and doing things over and over, it is not a matter of if, it is a matter of when the things that you constantly plan don't go according to your plan. And that's why I want to stop here, because or at least stop the regularly scheduled program to share with you today, because there isn't always going to be a moment when, not if, things do not go according to plan. And whether that is in your personal life, in your corporate life, in whatever, I want you to be prepared. I don't want things to happen to you twice, right? More importantly, I want you to be prepared when things do happen that don't go according to plan. And that's why it's really important because, and I'll just tell you my own story yesterday. So amongst all of the chaos that was happening, yesterday I decided, you know what? I'm going to fix a goal because I wanted to remain calm. Once I understood that my children were okay, it was a matter of I don't want to just sit around all day. So I put a goal to myself and said, hey, listen, I want to get to the Mediterranean Sea. Why? Because I knew that the Mediterranean Sea was going to calm me down. It was going to help my central nervous system. It was going to allow me to reflect on the things that were most important, right? And so this is something that I learned not only from the pandemic, but life lessons in 2023 in getting to a point. And this is why I want to share this with you because it's critical in this important reflection made after a scary day in Spain. It's going to also help you to realize that it is not, especially if you're like me and you grew up thinking like, hey, listen, when there's a problem, the money's going to solve all problems. Trust me, money does not solve all problems. Yesterday was a perfect example. And this is also one of the reasons that I have and work with highly paid professionals to come up with something called a resiliency plan. Now, the resiliency plan is actually what I've internalized and something that I put into practice yesterday, which is what I realized after the fact, which is why I stopped the regularly scheduled program, just to share with you in a real life example, how you can also extrapolate this and put this in your own life. So yesterday, I had an opportunity to, well, first of all, kind of go down the different areas that we like to talk about in the resiliency plan. And if you want to hear the detail around that plan, just go to episode 453. But more importantly, to highlight the point yesterday, money would not have solved the problem because when there's no electricity, there's no internet. For the majority of the day, I was kind of by myself. But then I realized I'm living in a flat, in a building, and there were a number of things that I wanted to do. So having the end goal, the North Star, which was to get to the Mediterranean Sea, it wasn't going to be just a matter of money. Number one, because of the place that I live in, it was a matter of saying, okay, well, what is it most importantly that I want to be able to do? How am I going to invest my time? Am I going to be panic stricken and stay here? Or am I going to actually use it in a way that's going to be more beneficial, more productive for myself and for others? Well, yesterday I was really focused on myself. So it was a matter of understanding the social relationships that I had that were here within the building that I live in, communicating with one another, understanding what was happening, securing the building, people's flats, and then also being able to, I had a car that was stuck in the garage because there was no electricity. Well, by leveraging the social relationships that I had yesterday, I understood that there was a way for me to actually be able to get out. Once I got out, wanted to focus on my own health, right? Being able to get away, have a strong focus around mental health, be able to walk along the beach. And you know why? When you're able to do those types of things, it helps to give you a different perspective. And when I was there, was able to get in a moment of silence. For you, maybe it's something, it could be something completely different. It may be a moment of prayer. It may be a moment of meditation. Whatever the case may be, you can focus on these different areas in a moment of chaos, in a scary day, which was what was happening yesterday. Because at the end of the day, and this is the thing that I really want to share, is when, not if, something doesn't go according to plan, you want to be able to rely on more than just money to be able to help you to move forward. What was the specific knowledge that you have? What are the different relationships that you have? How are you going to invest your time? And also be able to leverage, was able to leverage financial resources to be able to use the car to get to the beach, right? That was the idea. Because at the end of the day, even in a scary situation, even in a difficult situation, when you have a plan that you build when you don't need the plan, you are able to more easily guide through chaotic and scary moments, which is what happened yesterday. And what I realized after having gone through this a number of times, I'm much better prepared to deal with adversity, to deal with doomsday, because I've been through them recently. And also, if you have not, I can tell you the best time to prepare for adversity is when you're not in a moment of adversity. And because it's something that is so close to the recent the recent past, something that is really important that I think that you prepare yourself for, I wanted to stop the regularly scheduled program and just to say, and also because a number of people contacted me yesterday, especially through LinkedIn. Number one, I'm okay. Number two, this is a story to be able to share with you to prepare yourself for doomsday, especially when you don't have it. When you're in that cycle of success, that's the best moment to take a step back and say, hey, listen, what else beyond money do I have in place to help me prepare for the moment when doomsday arrives, when things don't go according to plan? And rehearse it when you don't need it, because that's going to allow you to get to your North Star. Maybe for you, it is to get the next promotion, or it's to get the next investment. For me yesterday, it was to get to the Mediterranean. And how did I leverage my own resiliency plan in the moment of chaos? Well, I leveraged the financial resources, the social resources, my own emotional and spiritual resources to be able to get there. That's what I want for you, right? And so I just wanted to share this because it's really important. It's another reminder that it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when things don't go according to plan, and how well prepared are you to be able to do that. So I wanted to stop, make that important reflection after what was a very scary day in Spain, at least from the outside. Here, navigating it and got through it just fine, letting everybody know I'm just fine as well. And if you know someone who is going through challenging times, the challenging times are just on the forefront, share today's episode with them, and then go from theory to practice. Get on the phone, talk to them, share the ideas. Heck, if they want to get in touch with me, you know how to get in touch with me through LinkedIn, or you can leave a review, and I'd appreciate that too. So, like I said, wanted to share that with you. Whatever you're doing, make it a great day. While you're sharing, while you're talking about today's episode, I'm going to be right here. I'm going to be preparing for the next episode. So until then, go out and make it a great day. And thank you very, very much. Today's episode is sponsored by Billy Keels Advisory Services. If you want to learn more about how to make your 9 to 9 optional, just go to makeitoptional.com. Once again, that's makeitoptional.com.